Hello. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. We're on the swivel at the Sportsbar, and we're going to talk a little bit of sports today. And I have a full agenda. It shouldn't take more than an hour or so. And so welcome aboard. And we're going to talk about it. You should see what's up on the screen. And we're going to take it from the top. All right. I'm excited to go ahead, and today I'm starting a little early, go a little solo. That's fine with me. I have a couple of things I want to talk about. You're on a swivel at the sports bar, and we're going to do this every week. I think I'm going to switch my time to 6 o'clock. And I know that's early for some, but for me, since I'm a retired kind of guy, it's right on time. So I don't have any issues. And listen, if you didn't know, in the NBA that Ja Morant had his first game back. Ja Morant had his first game back yesterday, I believe, on the 19th against the Pelicans. Actually, it was a pretty damn good game. They went back and forth. The Pelicans took a big lead, and the Grizzlies came storming back. And the brother had a great game. It was like he never missed a beat. So if you haven't seen it, I would say go ahead back and look at the highlights. You won't be disappointed. Not only did he have a great game, he actually hit the winning shot. So how about that? He hit the winning shot. So the brother is all the way back, So now, they got a lot of catching up to do. They're out of the playoff picture, that's for sure. So they can't fool around with that. So they don't have no leeway, but to play great basketball to try to get at least into the play-in games. So let me see, how far back are they? Well, right now they're in 13th place. And they're like 6.5 games out of the 10th spot. Not no real good playoff spot, but out of the 10th spot. So they got a long way to go, but there's a lot of season left. So take that for what you will. All right, so let's kind of move on to the Clippers. The Clippers, when they brought James Harden over, I think they lost 5 games in a row. They lost 5 games in a row. It looked like a horrible trade. And, and Ty Lue was being questioned. And, it looked like it was a mess. I think they had to switch Westbrook to come off the bench, and after they settled, they won 8 straight games. Now they're in the 6th spot. And I would say they're sitting pretty comfortably with a winning streak. Kawhi Leonard looks like he's playing well. Now, you never know when he might hurt those knees because his knees are bad and chronic. But so far, he's looking good. CP3, not CP3, but Uh, his compadre is looking pretty good too. Uh, Paul and Paul George, I should say, and they look good. They're looking good. Ty Lue got back on his feet. He's always been considered a good coach, and this might be some of his best stuff right now. I think he won a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers, so it's hard to beat that. But he's looking good. He's looking good. So that's cool. So further on in the NBA, of course, we can't talk basketball without talking about Draymond Green. Now, the thing about Draymond Green that I don't know if it's an issue, but, we got to say, what do we really think about Draymond? You know, I know he's a good player and he's a good player, but I think he's on a perfect team for his skill set. You know what I'm saying? He's on a perfect scheme for his skill set. So that kind of exaggerates his worth. You got Steph Curry, you had Klay Thompson, you had some great teams. And of course, he was instrumental in a lot of these championships. But there's obviously something troubling that guy, that I don't think has anything to do with basketball, because he seems to have serious impulse control issues. Well, anyway, his so-called infinite suspension has turned into a 3-week suspension, which kind of equates to 10 or 11 games. Now, he also has to take some kind of class or some kind of, management, anger management class or whatever they deem is appropriate to get, his mind right. I'm not so sure that you could take something in a 3-week period that's going to make a difference to a grown man if your head is set on being an idiot from time to time, So I don't know. So that's up in the air. Tell me what you think in the comments, or whatever, and we'll go from there. Because I don't know what else to say about it, but he'll be back. He's going to be back soon. So Draymond is not going to be out for an extended period of time. So not anymore. So it's going to cost him over $1 million too. So there's that. It's going to hurt his pockets. Whether he cares or not is another matter. Right. Then I put this little tidbit about players behaving badly in the NBA. And I look down the list. There's not really that many players who are in trouble. Now, this might not be an exhaustive list, but given the amount of basketball players there are in the NBA, the list is pretty short. Matter of fact, the percentages of guys who are in trouble here are a whole lot less than regular society. I can tell you that right now. So you could look at this chart, this guy, Josh, Primo. He's with the Clippers now. I don't know how much playing time he gets with those stars on that team. He's indecent exposure. He was exposing himself to women. And he had to take some classes or some kind of, counseling so he could stop exposing himself to women. I mean, come on, man. What the hell, where do you come from? Right? So this guy, James, right, Bro Knight or whatever, the guy ends up with a deletion weapon, with a weapon that was used in a deletion of a young lady. Now, he wasn't there. He didn't do it. But it sounds to me that one of his so-called friends, dropped the weapon off with him, and he was stupid enough to take it. And when they found the weapon, they traced it back to the deletion. Now, he got off on that one. He was exonerated, but he was affiliated with a person who committed a deletion. Now, he's getting a pass for that for some reason, and he's on the Hornets, but he's getting a pass. Okay, so if he didn't do it, he didn't do it. But he was stupid enough to take the weapon. Brandon Miller. Well, I'm sorry. The James was the DWI. Brandon Miller is the deletion guy, right? He was the guy who did the deletion. Okay, well, who was involved with a friend who did it. All right, so I had that wrong. We already talked about Ja Morant. And then it's Kevin Porter. Kevin Porter, he's a young man. He was supposed to be pretty damn good. Now he finds himself out of the league because he can't stop getting into trouble off the court. And nobody wants to put that kind of smoke on their team. Can you imagine? You got the whole world ahead of you. You got money, you got fame, you can feed your family for a generation or two, if you're good. And he can't stay out of trouble. So now he's out of the league. And he's a young man in his early 20s. It just doesn't make any sense. So some people are just destined to be stupid. And he's probably one of them. And of course, there's Josh Giddey, the person who put Malika Andrews in full display because she refused to talk about him until pressure made her make a comment. Now, I don't think this guy is guilty of anything. It's a couple of years out of high school himself. He was duped into fooling around with a young lady who lied about her age. And I don't think there should be any ramifications about what he did. Right? Because the girl was probably 17 anyway, 16, 17. She told him she was over 18 and she was in a club where you have to be 18 to get in. So he assumed that she was of age. He didn't go on a prowl. He didn't, go try to find a woman in diapers. He ain't a guy who should be on the registry. I think it's just stupid that we're even talking about it because he's just like a year or two out of high school himself, So, he'll probably get exonerated. Some people will be mad because they didn't punish him in the media like they do all the black players. But you know what? If he didn't commit a crime, I don't care what color he is. He doesn't need to be excoriated. Just like I won't think a brother should be excoriated either for the same infraction. Just got to be more careful. All these guys, every man has to be more careful because essentially women have set themselves up to be actually weapons against men. It's scary to say, but there's so many men going down at the hands and the mouths of women. It's incredible. All right, so what else is there in basketball other than we got a long season to go? It's 30-something games in. We got the All-Star game to look forward to in February, some time frame, and so that should be interesting. So NBA's NBA. If you like basketball, there's no shortage of games for you to watch. If you got the ticket and all that kind of stuff. Me, I have a few teams I like to watch, but I like it when it starts getting heated up. I like the in-season tournament, and I like it when playoffs get near. I definitely like the in-game playoff from 6 to 7, 8, 9, and 10 play-in game tournament. I definitely like watching that. Anything that gives the players incentive to do well it makes it a good watch when it comes to basketball. And of course, the playoffs themselves is something that we like to see as well. So, sports are sports. If you like sports, you like basketball, here you go. It's all you can eat basketball right now. All right. So NFL season. What the hell's happening with the Eagles? It seems like that they're not doing well that much, but they're still 10-4. Right? It looked like they were going to be a lot hotter than that. They're 10-4. It was a bad loss against the Seahawks the other night. They should have been able to put that game away, but somehow they couldn't. And so they end up losing. But they're 10-4. So it's not like, the world's over. What's wrong with Jalen Hurts? Blah, blah, blah. Listen, they're right in the thick of things. They still could win a division. They might not get the number one seed because it doesn't look like anybody in the NFC is going to catch San Francisco. And the only thing I can't stand about the San Francisco thing is that everybody's trying to ordain Purdy with the MVP. Why? Why? I mean, he's having a great season, but why is he an MVP over McCaffrey? Right? No, I don't see that. Right? So we still got some season left. So we'll see. The Buffalo Bills are heating up. They've been looking good lately. They beat up on the Cowboys something fierce just the other day. And Josh Allen is kind of looking like his old self. I don't know who talked to him, but somebody got to the brother. Right? Somebody got to him. So his 3 games left are the Chargers, the Pats, and the Dolphins. So they got just about only one real tough game in there. I mean, the Chargers are going to be competitive, but I don't think they're going to beat Buffalo. Now, one thing I didn't check is where that game's at. If it's in Buffalo, then Buffalo has the edge. But even if it's in California, I think Buffalo travels well. So watch out for the Bills. One of my buddies is a big Bill fan. I went to school at Buffalo. I went to the University of Buffalo, so I still know a whole bunch of people up there in Buffalo, Buffalonians, and they love themselves some Bills. And they still can't quite get over the stigma of losing 4 Super Bowls in a row. They can't get over the stigma of losing 4 Super Bowls in a row. 4 of them. Well, what can you say? You can't win them all. But obviously you can lose them all. Okay, and the Cowboys. They got some great memes, but Dak Prescott all laid out, getting his butt whipped. Again, they're still 10-4. They're still 10-4. It's not like they're going to be out of the playoff picture. I don't think they clinched just yet. I could check, but I mean, they got a tough schedule though. They got to go beat the Dolphins. The Lions are no longer a pushover, and I guess the one give me, quote unquote, is the Commanders. However, those division games are pretty tough, right? So if they don't get up for something, they might get up for that game against Dallas, especially if they could spoil Dallas's playoff run, right? Because if a team ain't going nowhere, the only thing they have left is to make sure you go fishing with them. They dig that, right? So, who knows, right? They could pull an upset because, as we all know, is any given Sunday. Any given Sunday. So, I mean, there's 8 million stories in the NFL, just like there are in the NBA. But playoff, the smell of playoffs are in the air, and we're gonna look at that in a second. And what about Mike Tomlin? And this is about the time every year where somebody's calling for his head. Now they're still in the playoff picture, by the way, but they're 7-7, and sometimes they look decent, sometimes they look terrible. And of course, the boo birds and the people say, well, maybe they need a new coach. And every single year, they try to replace Mike Tomlin. And somehow, some way, shape, form, or fashion, the owners are not having it, right? Because I think whether they're happy with him or not, I think they do some kind of analysis saying, if we got to break in a new guy, how much better is our team going to actually be if we don't have the players? So, Tomlin has some bad breaks. He had a quarterback that passed away. We don't know if he was going to be great or not, but that still puts a monkey wrench, in the cog, in the wheel. and whatever else they have, they still don't have that franchise quarterback, and they need one. They really do. So we'll see. You know, um, so more to come on that. All right. So before we go further, let's look at the playoff picture. Let's look at the playoff picture. All right. We'll give it a chance to come up. You see the playoff picture? So in the AFC, right now the Ravens are number one, and the Dolphins will play Pittsburgh, Kansas City will play the Bengals, and the Jaguars will play the Browns. Okay. And one of the things in the AFC, and I had a conversation with some other big sports guys the other day. I don't like the bye week. Maybe I'm the only one, but I don't really like the bye week. I'm crazy that way. I mean, I think if you have momentum, I'd rather you just keep playing. I'd rather you just, keep playing. So you get one less game to go to the Super Bowl if you have the bye week. So you get the divisionals and you get the conference. You win those two games, you go to the Super Bowl. But in that week off, okay, some guys, if they're hurt, they get well. But if you got a certain kind of momentum, don't you think that sometimes that momentum gets broken by an extra week off? So while the other teams are playing the heat of battle, these guys are hungry. You win a tough fought game to get to the divisionals, and you're coming in hot. And then there's a whole bunch of fried chicken eating guys who sat on their ass for 14 days. And now they're playing you, and you're hot, and they might not be. So I don't like the bye week, or the bye game, or whatever the hell they call it. I'd rather play, and I'll probably be the only coach who would think that way, and that's why my coaching career might only be one goddamn year. Because no coach believes in that shit but me. I'm the only one who believes that. I don't like the damn week off. In the NFC, we got San Francisco, who looks hot now. We got a great matchup coming up. I think it's Christmas. Is it Christmas? I think it's on Christmas. Between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. So it could be a prelude to the Super Bowl. A prelude or preview or whatever the hell we're going to call it, right? But in the NFC, you can look at how things are matching up. Dallas is 2 and Green Bay is 7. Well, guess what? Give guys some props. Love is not a bad quarterback, right? He's not bad. Okay, he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Brett Favre, but he's young, and he's not bad. So it's good to see that, he can hold his own. Of course, they'll call him a game manager and all that other shit, but that's cool. That's fine. It's fine for him to be a game manager. Anyway, then we got the Lions playing Minnesota. I think the Lions should be able to take them, but Minnesota is always surprising. Tampa Bay and Philly, right? So if everything started right now, this is the lineup, the playoff picture. Of course, next week it could change, right? There's 3 games left for everybody or something like that. So the only thing that might not change is number 1. Now, because if the Ravens went out, when they got a pretty decent schedule coming up, but if they went out, of course, they are number 1. Same thing with San Francisco. So let's stay tuned for that. And I guess there's no real questions other than, next week I'm going to keep showing the playoff picture as the playoffs get a closer and see if we got some changes from week to week. That's something to look for. And then I got something to show you, a clip of an ex-football player who committed a cardinal sin of marrying the wrong woman. And I think some of you guys have already seen this guy. He was a pretty good guy, a pretty good player, Croy Berriman. And he has a meltdown because he marries the wrong woman. And so many men are meeting their destruction because of the women that they marry. Right? It's sad, but it's true. Right? So I'm going to stop sharing this. And I want to show you a clip of his meltdown. Right? So bear with me for a second. I'm going to show you a clip of his meltdown. It's not an easy watch. It really isn't. All right. Here it goes.
There's no money. There's no house. We're getting divorced one day and we're not the next. Okay. The other men, what do you want?
Fair use.
Oh, gamble, I don't have a life.
This is courtesy of MTR.
He's just been screaming at me for like 2 hours, like a crazy.
Okay, so here's a woman's
I did a little bit of research on his wife and found out that she is actually a public figure. And of course, she was in the TV series The Real Housewives of Atlanta. At age 17, she had an affair with the Windsor Locks police sergeant who had interviewed her as a material witness in a criminal investigation, initially resulting in the officer's firing.
So we get a glimpse of what kind of woman she is. Courtesy of TMZ, courtesy of mediocre tutorial and reviews.
Police! Come here, Mr. Bierman. Bierman, come talk to me. What's going on?
It's just a bunch of nonsense.
All right, come talk to me. Ma'am, stay right there. What's going on tonight?
We're just having an argument
About what?
about our life.
Okay, what happened?
It's our life. It's destroyed.
Okay, what started the argument?
Her inability to solve problems
Okay,
or address
come
them
over
or
here.
do anything.
Come over here.
Why?
Because I want to talk to you away from her. I don't want her to start screaming at you and have a whole argument.
It's nothing but an act. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
I don't mean to laugh, but to clearly communicate at this heightened state of emotion that her issue is that she cannot solve problems. When we talk about lack of accountability so much on this channel, speaks volumes. This is Croy Bierman, who's a 38-year-old former NFL linebacker.
How does the best basketball player of all time make more money in his retirement than when he was playing basketball? Let me tell you, it's not what you think. It's because he makes a special kind of money now called royalties. My name is Christian Mickelson, and I help everyday people in
Backer for the Falcons.
That
This is
out.
body cam footage from a recent domestic dispute. Let's keep watching.
What is?
Everything she does.
Okay, what does she do tonight?
Everything, dude. I can't. I'm not going to do this because this right here does nothing but fuel her bullshit. I'm not doing this. This is narcissistic behavior. I'm not doing this.
I'm just trying to figure out what the
There's
argument
nothing to do. You shouldn't even be here. Who called you?
Your kids.
What kid?
You have kids? I don't know. Whoever's in the house.
Yeah, you've been outside this whole time.
What was the argument about?
That's a nice house.
Our life. Our life.
Okay.
And it's fucking destroyed.
Why is it getting so heated?
Because our life is destroyed. What don't you understand? There's no money. There's no house. We're getting divorced one day and we're not the next.
Okay.
Men, what do you want?
Just calm down.
Calm down, but I don't have a.
There you go. Let me stop it right there, okay? I think the last thing you do is tell a man in that heightened state to calm down, right? There's got to be some other technique you could use besides telling a man in that state to calm down. The last thing he can do is calm down. You know what I'm saying? So here we have a man who had a pretty decent NFL career, okay? Out of all the women he could marry, out of all the women he could find, he finds a scrag to marry, a woman with a ratchet past. You know, men don't understand that you are the gatekeepers to marriage. No woman could pass through unless you would invite her in like a vampire, right? They can't bite you in your own home unless you invite them in. And then when you invite them in, you're responsible for the outcome. So when he was dating or courting this chick, he didn't see none of these red flags. You know, I see him all irate. I kind of feel sorry for him because he's not the only man. We just saw what happened to Jonathan Majors. We see what happens to men over and over and over and over and over again because they can't vet women other than whether they have, you know, a good smelling Wawa once in a while. You know, what the hell is the matter with people? Look at Joe Smith. He's a shell of himself because he married a whore. What's going on? Come on, guys. I know it's the modern dating market. I know it's 2023 and it's more difficult to find a woman with some virtue, but it ain't that impossible. I don't believe that. You know, I really don't. I don't believe that. I just think you guys are lazy. I think you guys get enamored with the way a chick's butt look and her attributes, her physical attributes, how she feels in bed. And then why do you bestow her with a ring for marriage? Just play with her. You know, just have her for fun. I mean, there's got to be a way for you to discern better than what you're doing. This just got to be so. Now, here's this guy. He's beside himself, getting ready to lose his house, getting ready to lose his family, getting ready to lose everything because he picked the wrong woman. He can't blame that on anybody else. He's got to take an L for that. And it's an L that could have been avoided. You don't have no mentors. He didn't have no men come up to him and say, listen, man, you can't marry that woman. No matter what you do, you can't marry her. If you love her, you want to fool around with her, just fool around with her. But don't marry her. Well, you know, that's my rant for the day. What the hell did I, you know, that's why I did this. I don't mind ranting. If you don't like it, the hell with you too. You know what I'm saying? This guy blew everything. Anyway, so let's move off of that. Let's move off of that and go to college football. I don't watch a lot of bowl games. I think there's too many of them. I can't hardly get excited for any of them, so I'm waiting for the championship games. It ain't too long from now. I'm waiting for the first so I can see the Rose Bowl. I'm going to watch the Sugar Bowl, and then I'm going to watch them play for the championship. Those are the only bowl games I can stomach. I know there's some great college football fans out there. More power to you. More power to you. You know, you can spend your time watching all these goddamn bowl games. There's a lot of them. There's an absolute lot of them. I just can't be so bothered. But I like the championship series. I'm glad it's still only 4 teams. I know they're itching to change that. But as long as it's only 4 teams, it's a nice little championship round. You know, you're won and you're done. You know, you win, you move on. And then you crown the champions, and I can dig that. That's enough for me in college football. Right. So that's that. And the last thing I have on this list, because I didn't plan on being here long, you know, I changed the time. Some of the people couldn't make it. My regulars couldn't come, but that's cool. So maybe they'll adjust next week. And next week is between Christmas and, but it's on a Wednesday. So it's not the holiday. Most people will be home anyway. So, we're going to put a doozy of a show on Wednesday of next week. And maybe we could spend a little bit more time going over more items because we're going to have a whole bunch of football this weekend. That playoff picture should look different, right? Then we'll have the bowl games coming up on the weekend, right? Well, on the 1st, which is a Monday. And that should be interesting. So I'll be looking at that, while I'm sitting down here, maybe eating the leftover turkey or whatever the hell we're going to have for New Year's Day. And I'm going to smoke something good too, by the way. And then let me see. Then the last thing I have on this list is there's another sister in ESPN who seemingly has issues with black men. Now, she ain't like Malika Andrews. I won't call her that, but she didn't hesitate to get personal with Cam Newton. Right? His ugly ass outfits and stuff like that. I'll give her that. They're ugly as hell. But that has nothing to do with his football acumen. If you're going to be, a hostess of a football show, you got to keep it on the game. You got to keep it on his takes. You can't make it personal. Now, a lot of sisters don't like Cam Newton because he bangs out anything he likes. And he tells sisters, no, you don't rate if you don't look a certain way. And there's a lot of black women who don't like that. So I don't know whether she was feeling some kind of way, but she said something that was untoward. And Ryan Clark said, hey, wait a minute. Check that. Check that at the door. If you want to sit at the big boys' table, if you want to be around men who play this game, you can't be doing that petty female crap. You know what I'm saying? So Ryan Clark, in his own articulate way, says that. But I'm going to give you some background. There's this brother named Dreamers Pro is covering this as well. And so I like his take. So we're going to show a couple of clips of this, give you the background. Then we're going to skip forward to Ryan Clark and hear what he has to say. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and then I'm going to get to that. How about this? All right.
Parody, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, and really, Dak Prescott. These are game managers. They're not difference makers.
When you say game manager, I'm not asking you to go out and win the game. I'm just asking you not to lose.
Not to lose the game. Exactly. Listen, I don't give a damn what you do. You don't have to score every time. You just don't have to throw a pick every time either. If we're going to really call a spade, there's a difference between managers of the game and difference makers of a game.
So the secret to becoming a millionaire is right under everyone's nose. Now, when you figure it out, it's
like, give me a break. I'm just so honestly, move past the outfit for a second. He literally said in the year of 2023, where it's all about NFL backups. Where's Cam? Not on an NFL roster, right? So he's talking about all these NFL game managers. He sounds like the people literally tweeting at me from their basement, like, get back in the kitchen. Like, it's like you are at home watching me. Like just turn the TV off.
Probably in the kitchen.
It just sounds so foolish.
So you heard what she had to say. So those were her comments. And then when she put out those comments, a lot of people started pushing back on her, including Ryan Clark, who's also a colleague of hers at ESPN. But we're going to get to his topic.
So let me stop that right there. If you pause what she said, I'm going to put this whole clip so you can go see this whole episode from Dreamers Pro. I'm going to put it in the description so you can go all the way through it. But the point that's being made is that she got personal. Not only about his outfit, but the fact that he's no longer in the NFL, right? And that he can't get a team, right? All of that is irrelevant to the fact that he has enough gravitas to have an opinion as to whether a man is a game manager or a game changer, right? And she broke the code because she doesn't know what the code is. They keep putting these women in spaces that they don't belong. And if they belong, they need to get protocols correct when they talk. You can't make it personal. You can't make it personal. It's like a male. It's like a man saying, "Well, the WNBA is no good because there's too many lesbians in there." Well, you can't, you can't make it personal like that. It's got to be about the game. So see, hopefully, when Ryan Clark gives you his impression of what she's done, hopefully that'll fix this thing. So let's bypass it. Let's get to Ryan Clark.
Said, and the reaction to it, I think this way. First of all, everyone is talking about where Cam is now and speaking from the fact that he's not on a team and that he may want to be on a team. Guess what? All of us that give our opinion, right, either can't play anymore. Nobody wants us to play anymore.
Right.
And in some of these people cases, you never played because you couldn't play. So to speak about where Cam is making the comment from now is wrong, right? And to treat Cam as what I heard from somebody, to treat Cam as someone tweeting from their mother's basement is also wrong. Because what Cam Newton's perspective is different. Cam Newton's perspective is over 700 first place Heisman votes because I had 48 touchdowns in the SEC. I led the SEC in rushing with 1,400 plus yards. I threw for over 2,600 yards. It's being rookie of the year with 4,000 yards passing, which was a rookie record.
14 touchdowns.
Right? 14 rushing touchdowns, right? Which was the most ever. It's in 2015 accounting for 45 touchdowns, 10 of those rushing. And doing it his rookie year with Steve Smith at age 32 as his number one receiver, an old Jeremy Shockey, a young Greg Olsen. And so when he's looking at these quarterbacks, you know what he could say? Of the three I named, only one of them won rookie of the year, and that's Dak Prescott. Of the three I named, only one of them have thrown for over 4,000 yards, which I did as a rookie. When Cam Newton is looking at that, he's looking at it from that perspective. And in looking at it from that perspective, I don't agree with his opinion about Dak Prescott, but I do agree with his opinion about the other two in some ways. But my point is this, though. Why do we as analysts get to talk about that man like he wasn't one of the best we ever seen do it at one time? Because when I make a comment, I don't expect people to respond to my comment with, "Oh, you were an undrafted free agent safety." When other people on TV make a comment, you don't expect them to respond with, "Oh, you played basketball at an HBCU and you were just a reporter," or "You are a woman who just reports from the sideline," or "You are a quarterback that was a backup his entire career," right? Those personal attacks on Cam in his lows forget his highs. And as everybody is entitled to an opinion, I don't know if it's his platform, I don't know if it's his clothes, I don't know if it's his bravado, I don't know if it's his paint job. But Cam Newton saying that people are game managers, when you say it and hear it all the time on TV, that a guy like Kirk Cousins, for his entire career, everyone has called him a game manager and he's one of the richest quarterbacks that's playing football right now, it's wrong. And so when you speak on Cam and his opinion, talk about his opinion, because all of these people who are spewing this vitriol at who Cam Newton is today were never what Cam Newton was at his height. And that is the perspective and that is the perch in which he's making his assessment on, which is okay to make because all these people who now get paid to do it never did it like him and aren't doing it anymore. So it shouldn't matter where he's making the comment from.
So let me stop it right there. So it was a little long, but you see where he's coming from, right? So I'm going to put this whole thing in there because my brother from, Dreamers Pro over here gets into his commentary about things, and he always got some decent takes. So this is all fair use. But, I'm just saying, you know what? People got to be careful about the critiques. Right? You critique the opinion, but you don't critique and criticize the man or the woman for that matter. Right? It's what are you trying to accomplish by, are you just trying to be mean or what? And that's how it could be taken, because you know what? Black women don't like Cam Newton. So somebody could just say, you know what? This sister is just bitter because Cam Newton would never choose her. You know what I'm saying? He would never choose her. So is she taking it out on him because she got the bully pulpit? Who knows? But it's a bad look. And somebody, if it's Ryan Clark with this diatribe, somebody needs to take these women, the Malika Andrews of the world, or this woman now, and take her and say, listen, you know what? It's okay for you to have the table. We ESPN gave you the job. However, you got to be careful on how you critique the brothers or the players, for that matter. If you could talk about their opinion, but once you start making it personal, then maybe you shouldn't have this job. That's what I'm saying. So and I let me tell you, things being such as it is, I won't be surprised if this woman comes out and attacks Ryan Clark, as opposed to saying, you know what, my bad, I won't do it again. Let's see. It'll be interesting, because I don't know if this is the last of this, but I wouldn't be surprised, in typical Western woman fashion, that she stands up, don't take no accountability, and come out after Ryan Clark because she can't take the fact that she was checked. Who's going to check me, boo? Who's going to check me, boo? And I hope I'm wrong. Anyway, that's my sports talk for the night. We're on the swivel at the sports bar. I'm glad whoever showed up, great. I'm going to put this on a recording anyway and throw it on my channel so you can listen to the replay. And I'm going to do it again next week and the week after that. On one of these days, there's going to be a whole bunch of people listening and participating. That's my anticipation. So with that, our Payne, over and out on the swivel at the sports bar. Have a good weekend.